And so I'm really excited about that because this will bring more awareness to what these companies, these innovators are doing,
Right.
and how everyone can perceive plastic. That there are solutions. There's so many
Right.
solutions, and
There.
it's just supporting those companies that are trying to make that difference. You
Right.
know,
Exactly. So, the very first movie that you made, how was the audience reaction, or what's the change you saw or noticed
oh,
happen after
upcyclers.
that? Yeah.
So the first film that I did actually was Vida Vert,
Okay.
and I produced that film, and it was during the pandemic. It was actually just before the pandemic started,
Mm-hmm.
and then once the pandemic started, we were already in production and putting this film together. And it was beautiful to see the drone footage of San Francisco, when it was shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And it speaks a lot on overconsumption, but also like the agriculture, agriculture, and plant-based diets, and how those are better for the planet. So it didn't just speak on fashion. It was more or less the whole picture, because it even
Mm-hmm.
spoke on, since the pandemic had already started, the lockdowns. We were seeing how the oxygen, the clean air was the numbers were coming down. Like you had countries in China that their numbers had never gone under 100, the ratings, and that was getting better. And so it spoke on like how do we see our world after we're allowed to go back out.
Right.
Like this is an opportunity to slow down and to reset our values, and to
Right.
really make that choice. Are we going to choose lane one, which
Mm-hmm.
is to continue to be destructive, or
Right.
are we going to choose lane two, which,
Mm-hmm.
learning from what we just went through with the pandemic,
Right.
and how we are able to slow down, not buy as much, rethink about how we what we purchase, what we put in our bodies, and how that could support the planet. Are we going to choose that lane, or are we going to choose what we've been doing, and the destruction and where we're headed?
Wow.
So that's what the film was about. And
Mm.
that was in 2020. And then in 2021, during it was I mean we were still in the pandemic, we were still in lockdown.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I met individuals that we were on Clubhouse, back to that app, and we were upcyclers. The club that I had out with El Raleigh, with Rachel, was like bringing all these upcyclers. That I think at one point we had like close to 5,000 upcyclers, and
Wow.
from all over the world, from
Oh,
Bangladesh, from
amazing.
Singapore, from
It was happening in the
China.
Bollywood. I mean, Hollywood.
It was on the Clubhouse app, and so
Oh.
it's an audio app. So we were all joining in,
Oh. Okay. You're
and we would
talking about
have
the
all
same
these
app.
discussions. Yeah.
Okay.
So then in doing so, I also met there's not a lot of us that do film, that are
Mm-hmm.
in the slow fashion industry and also in the film industry. So I
Mm-hmm.
did meet another individual. Her name's Roxana Chapela, and she's
Okay.
a filmmaker. She's also Mexican as myself. And
Mm.
so we started talking. I'm like, hey, I have an idea. And I started sharing with her. I go, no one's, like, we're all talking about upcycling and all that. There's nothing out there that describes what the movement's about. So I started sharing with her my story. I said, like, I really would love to put a film together. And I told her about it. And being that she's a film director, she's like, yeah, let's do it. So we gathered 7 other upcyclers. We showcased them. We featured them. And we put the short film together. It was very low budget. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, we didn't think it was really going to go anywhere.
Okay.
But we started putting it through, submitting it in film festivals, and
Mm-hmm.
it started getting accepted, and we started
Wow.
getting awards, and we
Amazing.
started getting international awards.
Mm.
So, but at the end, we were
You got the
nominated for,
message, you know?
yeah, well, that's exactly what they were saying. They're like,
Right.
because we're like, how could this really low budget film, it was very well done, but it was all about the message.
Right.
And that's what these festivals,
Awesome.
that's what they were saying
Right.
is the message. We love the message.
Mm.
And Upcyclers, Fashion's Climate Frontliners, is the first film that speaks on upcycling, the upcycling movement. And the reason it was titled that is because I truly believe that upcycling is at the core, on the front lines. They're trying to keep everything out of landfills,
Right.
and they're trying to
Yeah.
recirculate and keep the textile waste circular,
Wow.
so that
Right.
we don't have that impact on our planet. And so
That's the best
this
way.
was kind of a love project
Right.
that we put together, and it was
Wow.
very successful. It's till now I'm still licensing that film out to colleges because they're asking for them.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a great opportunity for the new individuals who are coming out or freshmen to know about these things, so they be
Yeah,
more
exactly.
conscious with their whole life, hopefully, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you created such a masterpiece, and people, of course, people appreciate it if they have a message or they learned something valuable out of that, you
True.
know. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the new film which is coming out or you're making into the process, what is a message that you're trying to convey with your great storytelling skills?
Cyborg Human, the
Yeah.
future. It's titled Cyborg Human. Cyborg Human, the future we choose, and it's really about where we're headed. It's about. It started with my art installations, which are on Cyborg. It started with Cyborg Baby, who was actually on the fashion runway, and that's actually what would catch a lot of people's attention, and that was in back in 2022. And people be like, oh my goodness, what is this, all this tubing, all this, because Cyborg Baby looks very dystopian, very futuristic, kind of Dune. I wouldn't say Dune because some people have compared it to Dune, but it's definitely not Dune. And I was, you know, it's post-consumer waste that has electronics on it. And it's really about the issue with microplastics and toxins in fashion, and how we are becoming that. We are becoming plastic, and we are becoming what we're producing. And so it's really the story about that, and how if we don't change, if we don't choose wisely, we're just going to keep becoming that, and at some point we're going to lose our humanity. Like we're gonna lose our human touch, you know, our ability to reproduce, our ability to be humans, because we're just gonna be plastic, electronics, and everything else that we're producing, because that is what we're becoming. So that's what the story is about. And but it's made in a very artistic way. With so I had a film director that reached out to me last year. Her name's Marielle Noor, and she was like, I really love what you're doing with these exhibitions, these fashion shows, with these cyborgs, and I want to make a film on it. And I said, oh, I love the idea. And so I was on board right away, and I said, yeah, let's work together. And that's what we're trying to do now, is to produce this film. We had the teaser, and it got good reaction during LA Climate Week, and now we're starting the crowdfunding, and we're going to be making that available to our audience and our followers. And anyone that wants to get involved, it would be a great opportunity for them, you know, to be part of the film. And also, if there's someone interested to be an executive producer, we definitely have that role available, so that they can, you know, they could be part of the credits and the film and partner with us.
Wow.
And there are other organizations, institutions that are interested as well, that are involved with microplastics and human health, because this is a health issue. It's not just only about fashion. And that's the one thing that I do want to say, is whether I'm doing a fashion piece or if I'm doing an art piece or a film, it does revolve around culture and changing culture and social impact. So that is what I'm always trying to tell. I'm always trying to tell the story about how, as humans, we can change.
Right.
We can change, you know.
Yeah, it is I believe a great opportunity for the individuals who want to help, or, you know, who have the same mission as yours. So
Yeah.
we all can make a difference.
Especially companies that are producing products that are biomaterials, that are not plastic, that are alternatives for plastic. This is a great opportunity. And also, like, there was one individual that I spoke to recently that does a lot of e-waste. Like he recycles electronics and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people doing really great, cool, innovative stuff.